Let me just turn then finally to the question of local. So the piece that we asked the students to read is a little old, from 2007, I guess, where you're kind of engaging with the local locavore movement, but then also the critics of it, like James McWilliams, who we actually interviewed for the course a little while back. But it sounds to me, I mean, the reason I like your work and his is that you're both very careful to follow the reasons and the arguments where they take you, and you don't seem attracted to kind of orthodoxies, but rather to what seem like real solutions. And sometimes they're complicated and messy and involve taking a lot of things from different places. Maybe some GMOs in some contexts are okay. Maybe sometimes it's good to eat local, but it's not possible in all situations. So not a one-size-fits-all kind of picture. In this piece, it looks like you're advocating against McWilliams for something like a local picture, but broader than some arbitrary 100-mile radius, something that you're calling a regionalism. So can you just tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so it is a very non-dogmatic approach, and it's this idea that I think we're going to have to move to anyway, because the way things are working out in places like California and the Midwest, where every region of the United States and of the world has its own ecological advantages and disadvantages, and there are ecological niches where you can produce without harming the environment very much. You can produce a lot of, several different kinds of crops. Mm-hmm. And so what I would like to see is moving to a system where, it kind of is this way in parts of Europe already, just the way things have evolved there. Yeah. Like when you go to a certain part of Italy or France, then you get, there's a certain kind of food that's adapted to that environment, and you expect it. You don't expect to go to the south of France and have the exact same food that you get in the north of France. Mm-hmm. It's a different set of ecosystems, and people don't go there expecting McDonald's sort of one-size-fits-all menu. They go there because it's particular and different. And I think that kind of system that is based on more of a regionalism is a lot better, and maybe each region is going to produce a surplus of something that it would trade with that would go to other regions, and it's going to produce a lack of something else, for example, coffee or olive oil, that is going to come from other regions, and that's fine. But instead of kind of privileging this idea of one menu, one sort of dollar menu for everything, having these more of a regional-based food system. Like, in North Carolina, just as an example, the eastern part of the state has a very hot coastal climate, very hot summers, mild winters. The western part of the state is up in the mountains, so we have way milder summers and harsher winters. And something like broccoli, if you just take broccoli as a commodity, you can do year-round broccoli production in North Carolina, where in the hotter months it goes to the mountains, where broccoli doesn't like a lot of heat. A lot of really hot summer days and nights make it bolt and not do very well. So you have broccoli growing in the western part of the state in the summer, and there's more broccoli being produced in the population, so it moves off the mountain and into the eastern part of the state as well. And then when the winter comes, it's way too cold to grow broccoli, even in a greenhouse in the western part of the state. But you can pretty much make it go year-round down east. And so you have this system where people in that region, with this, is the advantage of these two radically different, there's two radically different ecosystems and one kind of in the middle, the foothills ecosystem. Yeah. And you can just see that as an asset. And you can leverage that asset to have all different kinds of vegetables all year round. And so starting to think like that, like what are the ecological assets around us? What can we do here in this area? And importing what you can. Okay. So instead of importing everything. I mean, that's one of the things, like you go to farm country in the Midwest, and almost all the food that you eat, you're around probably the richest store of topsoil in the world.
They import all their food.
And they import all their food. And so that doesn't make any sense.
So no obsessive focus on the seasonal, the local, the right around here, but privileging that when you can, being willing to trade and bring stuff in a reasonable way when you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like a nice, accurate solution rather than some sort of orthodoxy.
Exactly.